Hi, class. Terrence Johnson again, here to talk about biblical interpretations dealing with the Old Testament narrative. The genre is there, and in particular, I want to talk to you about the narrative. First thing we want to look at is the nature of narratives. We ask the question is, what are narratives? And narratives are a story that are retelling the historical events that are intended to give meaning and direction for given people in the past. Oftentimes, all the time, these narratives are Holy Spirit inspired. The stories that are told are not so much our story, it is God's story, and it is become ours as He writes us into the narrative. Bible narratives tell us what things that happened in the past. We also want to look at all narratives have three basic parts: uh, character, plot, plot resolution. Characters are the protagonists, which are the primary persons in the story. Looking at the plot, we have the antagonist, and that is the person who brings about the conflict or the tension. Post resolution uh, gives the whole detailed long story about the narrative. We also look at the protagonist. It is the primary person is God, who is the protagonist, and the antagonist is Satan, and the agnostic, the agnostic are God's people. Um, and moving to the next slide, we have three levels of narratives, starting from the bottom up. The third level, we have what is called the meta narrative, which deals with the whole universal plan of God's work throughout His creation. The second level is the story of God's redeeming a people for His name. And the first level is all of the hundreds of individuals' narratives, such as the narratives on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What narratives are not? They're not allegories. Allegories are not stories filled with hidden meanings. Narratives are not intended to teach us moral lessons. And narratives, they do not necessarily uh, teach moral values directly. They often illustrate what is taught explicitly and categorically somewhere else. There are a lot of different things that was in um, chapter 5 dealing with the narratives. So much that we just don't have the time to really go through it all. But I just wanted to bring out some final cautions. A couple of things that I saw in the book that I just thought were interesting, and one was allegoralizing. Some regulate the text to merely reflecting another's meaning beyond the text, and decontextualizing, which is ignoring the full historical and literal context and often the individual narratives. Some people concentrate on small units only and thus misinterpreted clues. And then, for final, the redefinition, when the plain meaning of the text leaves people cold and producing no immediate spiritual effect. So it's important that as we go through the genre of narratives, that we do not misinterpret, and we do our best to interpret what God is saying, what the writer's intents are, and so that we can get it right and help others understand the Bible much more clearer. God bless you. Take care.